All right, Kevin, let's do this.
Yeah, I think so look, we've got Como coming up on Sunday, the first of again, I think a 3-game stretch of really critical games. And we were talking earlier whether this is going to be 0 points, or it looks like our YouTube followers and commenters here are looking at 4 points, perhaps 3 against Como and 1 against Lazio. This Como
The
test,
Como
this
game here in Chicago is at 5:30 in the morning.
yeah.
Are you getting up at 6:30 your
Yeah,
time?
I get up at 4 for work every day, so I'll
Oh
be
my
6
goodness.
6:30 sleeping in, so that's fine. Um, I think this is a really tricky test. They've let in 5 goals this year, and most of those goals have been away from
Correct.
home. They have been. It's hard to say if they've been a pleasant surprise. I think there were some generally decent expectations from them after their bright kind of reintroduction to Serie A last season. 6 games in, like they're sitting mid-table, and it's hard to kind of assess position in the table at this point with only a total possible of 18 points to be won. But it's a solid team. They're
They
playing really
they drew
clean.
Atalanta away at Bergamo actually.
Yeah, and they beat Fiorentina at Fiorentina. They opened the season with a 2-0 win against Lazio with I think it was Nico Paz had I think that was he had that incredible free kick against Lazio. I think that if I'm not misremembering that, yeah, it was that was the game he scored that. Look, they've got nice possession-based style. They're averaging 58% possession per game, dictating rhythm from the midfield. It's traditionally been Perrone, the Argentine, and Sergio Roberto in kind of this double pivot, coupled with Nico Paz dropping back in. I mean, they've got a solid, pretty predictable 4-2-3-1 that they march to. Um, this is if you were looking for I don't want to say this is a trap, but I think this is a game where you look at the next 3. This might be viewed as the simplest, but I think this is going to be a really tricky match for us. And I think if
especially
we don't have a level of control in the midfield, their tidy, intricate passing in the midfield and the possession-based style has an opportunity to run us down, especially when we're away.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there,
No, all
buddy,
good.
but I just wanted to add, like, if you look at the games Como play, they're very explosive in terms of they can switch from having possession and defense to being very dangerous on the other side of the pitch with a mere what is it, 4 or 5 passes. And this is the thing that Juventus at this point sucks at in the level of anticipation, anticipating the players or killing a game. We are terrible at that. And I'm afraid that the games that I saw Como play, or the highlights at least, when they were playing bigger teams or there was much at stake, so to speak, their enthusiasm always pushed them, made them overperform with 20%, especially with regards to explosiveness. I'm That's our Achilles heel, especially midfield. So if we can't control a game, like Kevin said, we'll be physically overran, meaning that certain mistakes will happen or gaps will follow, and I'm very concerned about what will happen because if this Como team grabs you by the throat and we we have a history of getting goals in, as opposed
Yeah.
to scoring goals and leading, and they keep the pressure on and maybe even score a second one, then it's gonna be really really tough for us to get over that because
Yeah.
they play with very a very organized side, especially from the back and the midfield, which is very difficult to dismantle and to disjoin. And
Yeah.
I think our biggest Achilles heel is their strong point. So
And that makes them a
um,
good they're positioned well to exploit us. But I also think Like our key to victory is going to come through. I look at it as like three main things. So the first is we have to be able to what you and I were just discussing, to be able to bring more balance to the midfield. And again, the 3-man midfield, I'm going to repeat that because they're short, intricate, tricky passing and tight passing when they're in possession. They will be in control, or when they're winning it on the quick break. To your point, they're the way that they can be very intricate about it, moving it forward. If we don't have the bodies in the midfield, we will be exploited. So I think getting the bodies in the midfield will be key. Second thing is their outside backs. From what I've read and some things that I've seen, when they have let up goals, they get exposed because they do push up field and they do join the attack. So these could be really great games for Yildiz and a Conceição or a Zagrova to get in or like around the back and really exploit the wings. And Como's also been criticized or have been exposed on goals with lack of height on set pieces with their center backs. So if we can make use of corners and long throws and kicks and try and get some stuff off of set pieces, that'll be really useful as well. But we'll see.
I think Zach's right with what Tudor has in mind, and he's gonna play the 3 men in the back. I assume he's gonna play the 3 men in the back and the 2 in midfield.
Who do you think he'll start with? Who do you think he'll start with 3 in the back?
I don't think that he has any choices. I think it's going to be Rugani, Kelly, Gatti. Yeah,
So you think he'll do Kalulu on the right wing?
yeah. Once again,
Ugh.
So what is your like? Put your Tudor hat on. Think through the mind of Tudor. What team are you putting out there? So you did the back line.
He's not going to change much. I think he's going to play. Then like we said, Kalulu, maybe Cambiaso on the other side, followed by Thuram, Locatelli. And I think he's going to go for the surprise up front. I think he's going to play Yildiz, David Conceição.
Okay.
That's what I think that he's going to do.
Yeah,
it's only logical, but I'd switch. I'd switch to like a flat 4-3-3, and I'd put, in my opinion, I'd say I'd start with Yildiz, Zagrova, Conceição.